13 News at 5 begins with breaking news tonight as we're learning the identity of a woman killed when her small plane went down in Greenwood.
That happened earlier today, and now investigators are trying to figure out why. This is a story we've been following since the news broke around 10:45 this morning. It happened near Main Street and I-65 on the south side. As you know, that is a very busy area. It's near a gas station and restaurants.
And we have live team coverage for you tonight with Marina Silva as well as Samantha Johnson. Let's start with Sam. She has learned the name of this individual. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, officials confirmed to us really within the hour that that pilot was the only person in that plane. We now know her name is Antu Wynn.
And we learned she's just 44 years old. She's actually from Miami, Florida.
Yeah, and according to her social media, she has a very extensive flight history. She has thousands of hours as a pilot. We understand she posted a video just this morning talking about flying from Indiana to Pennsylvania. We've also learned this afternoon she's a Purdue graduate. And according to the university, she's from Vietnam, moved to the United States when she was just 12. She eventually studied math and aerospace engineering at Purdue. They say she also founded a nonprofit back in 2018 for Asian women in aerospace. Then in 2020, she actually opened Dragon Flight Training Academy. That's a flight school down in Florida. Like we mentioned, her social media, she posted a lot about her piloting and her flights. She had more than 150,000 followers on social media, so many of them watching those videos to get a behind-the-scenes look of what it's like. In that last video that she posted just hours ago, she talked about how that flight felt like more than just a flight. It was almost an inspiration and a mission to inspire other young women and the next generation of pilots. Obviously, a tragic ending to what seems to be like her lifelong mission. Like you mentioned, she was 44 years old. So now obviously the questions turn to what happened. You were here early this morning. Walk us through what you know.
And I mean, it's still early on in the investigation, but what you're seeing right now is very different than what we saw around 10:45, 11:30 this morning when we first got here. Now, the plane is still here as we're waiting for NTSB to get here and start their investigation, but from what we know, a lot more people were here. I mean, we saw police, we saw firefighters, we saw a lot of witnesses. Now, a lot of witnesses were actually in the area and immediately called 911. Here's some of those 911 calls right now.
Johnson County 911.
Hey, there's a plane crash at Main Street and 65 in Greenwood just now.
There's a plane crash that just happened behind the Circle K at Peak Road and Main Street.
Johnson County 911, are you calling about the plane crash? Absolutely, yeah.
Now, the plane crashed roughly 20 feet from the Circle K gas station building. And now one witness says he was actually driving back to his office when he saw the plane in the air take a nosedive and ended up going in a circle until it came down. And here's what he had to say.
You see them fly over all the time, but you never expect something like that to happen.
And we spoke with the NTSB just a little while ago, and they said their investigators are heading here. They are going to work on the investigation here and then actually take it to a secure facility where that investigation will continue. And it's going to take some time. This isn't going to be a quick.
Yeah, we see a couple of those investigators working on the plane now. Of course, we keep hearing from more and more people after this accident. We'd actually talked to the folks down at the flight school in Florida today. They were, of course, saddened and heartbroken to hear what had happened. We also talked to the manager of the gas station here earlier today, who said he described that pilot as a hero for not going down in the front of the gas station, which of course could have been catastrophic. So certainly more answers and more investigation to come.
And everyone just saying that when they saw this was a very scary incident, not knowing what was going on, not knowing how many people were in the plane.
Yeah, so
very
more
sad
to come. Of course, Marina and I will be here. We'll have another update for you coming up tonight on 13 News at 6. We'll see you then.
Sam and Marina, thanks so much. Of course, we do know those investigators will be looking at a variety of things, the man, the machine, and the environment. Did one of those things contribute? Was it a combination of them as they get that investigation underway? And as we learn more information, we'll bring you updates on WTHR.com as well as our app.
All right, let's check in with Angela.
Felicia and Ann, another hot, humid day for central Indiana. As expected, temperatures back into the upper 80s and low 90s, and for some of us, still feeling like the triple digits. It's 92 in Indianapolis, 91 Carmel, 90 at Morris Reservoir, and we have 94 currently in Brown County. Still feeling like 100 at Bedford and Seymour. The current heat index in Indianapolis is close to 100 at 99, and you can see where storms are having an impact on those heat index values. And it's across the northern part of the state that we find the heavy rain and storm activity. Strongest storm right now over Logansport. Can't rule out damaging wind gusts and some small hail with this one. It is moving east, so heads up Peru and Kokomo. This will be crossing 31 here shortly. Be prepared for the heavy rain and lots of lightning. Not a lot behind that immediately to our west, but keeping a couple of close eyes on some cells that are developing across the southeastern sections of Missouri. So for us, chance for some storms will continue to increase tonight and linger through at least the early half of tomorrow. But get ready. We've got a big change coming. Cooler, less humid, just in time for opening day at the fair.
And developing tonight, Metro Police are trying to find that fourth suspect who ran from the scene of a traffic stop that ended in a police shooting.
This is an update to the breaking news that we brought you last night on 13 News at 5. The shooting at an apartment complex near West 16th and Lafayette Road followed a Metro Police investigation into a report of a stolen car.
We now know the officer was shot 3 times and tonight remains at the hospital recovering. The suspect who the officer shot, we're told, is hospitalized as well, at last word in critical condition. The driver and a passenger, who we're told are both 19, are facing preliminary charges of resisting law enforcement.
This afternoon, Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett released this statement online saying, quote, "Every time they don their badge, IMPD officers are putting their safety on the line to protect the safety of our city. Indianapolis is grateful for their dedication."
And in the courtroom tonight, a jury is deliberating the fate of a man who is accused of killing 3 people at an apartment complex in Lawrence on the northeast side.
The closing arguments wrapped just hours ago, and our Rich Nye had his camera in the courtroom for all of this. He joins us live with a look at what was said. Rich?
Felicia and Ann, that jury has been deliberating for about 3.5 hours now. The prosecution wrapped up its case this morning by showing the jury text messages sent to a phone that was allegedly owned by the defendant, Malik Shaw. Those messages came from someone who called themselves Big Johnny, and they seemed to be instructions to rob, shoot, and kill people at a drug deal. The prosecution argues 27-year-old Spencer Lawson was set up to be executed. Lawson was shot and killed in an apartment complex parking lot on April 12, 2024, along with 19-year-old Aaliyah Wortman and her 19-year-old cousin, London Coleman. They were all in a car with Lawson. The prosecution in closing arguments repeated some of those messages sent just before the murders.
Make sure one into head. Tell bro to start firing they ass up when you do, and we need no critical conditions. 20 minutes later, Spencer Lawson, Aaliyah Wortman, and London Coleman were dead.
The state's argument is we have clothes, we have DNA on a gun, we have 2 guns, we have 2 shooters. One is McDaniel and the other one's Malik Shaw, and that's the end of the case. Problem is, nobody has come in and told you that.
The second suspect in the shootings died a short time after the triple murder from an apparent suicide, and so he was never arrested. The phone with those incriminating messages was found inside a Chevy Impala that was abandoned by the suspects at the crime scene. Malik Shaw faces 3 counts of murder, and again tonight, the jury has been deliberating since about 1:36 this afternoon. We'll be here and let you know when we have a verdict.
All right, Rich Nye reporting live for us tonight from the CJC. Keep an eye on it for us. Thank you.
And now an update out of a Rush County courtroom tonight where a judge set the trial date for a mother accused of leaving her son to die in a fire. Kirsten Bowers made her first appearance before a judge today on the charge of a neglect of a dependent resulting in death, as well as 3 other neglect charges.
The fire happened at the beginning of June in Arlington. Her 7-year-old son, David Bowers Jr., died in that fire. 3 other children made it out okay.
She's due back in court in September, with her trial currently scheduled for December.
Tonight, a woman is dead after a driver hit her with a car while crossing the road on the near north side.
It happened this morning near Crown Hill Cemetery. Our Ashton Hackman shares what police know so far and why that intersection is known to be dangerous.
The crash scene near 38th and Boulevard Place is already cleared up from this morning, but a memorial from nearly 5 years ago is still standing as a strong reminder of just how dangerous this intersection can be.
Metro Police say it happened just before 6 this morning. A woman was hit while crossing 38th Street outside of a crosswalk. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. Police said the driver stayed on scene and is cooperating with police. Safe Streets Indy, which tracks crash data across Indianapolis, says this marks the 13th pedestrian killed this year and the 3rd at this intersection since 2020.
On foot or on bike, they're having to cross 6 lanes of traffic and intersections that are far apart, and it just makes it really difficult for them. And unfortunately, that leads to these types of crashes.
Ahead at 6, hear from a woman who lost her brother at this same intersection 5 years ago when he was hit on his bike. In Indianapolis, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
Metro Police say so far they don't think that alcohol was a factor in the crash. The driver did submit a blood test at the hospital that will be analyzed. We'll let you know when we learn the name of the woman who was killed.
Tonight, the Madison County Sheriff's Department is investigating a deadly crash involving a teen driver. The crash happened east of Pendleton just after 9:30 this morning. Deputies say a 17-year-old was behind the wheel of a Jeep which hit a woman. The department is not releasing any other information because investigators are working to get in touch with the victim's family.
Today marks 80 years since that sinking of the USS Indianapolis that occurred during World War II.
Of more than 1,000 crew members, only 316 survived. There was a special memorial ceremony today at noon on the Canal Walk. An honor watch will continue until sunset.
And families of the ship's crew came for that ceremony today. Of the 316 who survived that initial incident, just Harold Bray remains the last living survivor of that attack on the USS Indianapolis. Asking for more money, the contract talks now that involve Kroger workers.
And why a strike is nowhere in sight. That's ahead at 5:30. First at 5.
We create a lot of excitement around here, and I expect us to have great crowds.
Today, day 1 of practice is a wrap for the IU football team in Bloomington.
Hear from the head coach about expectations and the winning edge.
And it's a midweek matchup for the Indiana Fever as they look to continue a back-to-back winning streak. They're taking on the Phoenix Mercury right here at Gainbridge tonight. I got a preview on the other side of the break.